Welcome to the Robinhood Capitalist. I'm your host, DJ Flores. With me, as always, my trusted coach and advisor, the great Stacey B. What's up,
What's
coach?
up, everybody? An episode, I guess we can do this now, number
We,
11.
we
So,
could. It is number 11,
number
so we can
11.
do that. So
Yeah.
how was your trip? So we'll get into that. So big convention. Obviously, you're back home. It looks like.
Yeah, back home, happy because it's the first week out of the last 4 or 5 that I haven't traveled somewhere. So it's nice to be home for a bit. But the conference was great. We had just so many good people. You get a few hundred people in the room and people that like to think big and share ideas. And it's just awesome to be in the mix, and be a part and just kind of listening to the conversations and being a part where I could be of the conversations. But it was just an awesome time. We were in Southlake, Texas, just out of Dallas, and the Southlake Hilton was the venue. Just a beautiful venue too. So if anybody's looking for a place to go hang out in Dallas, that's not a bad spot to land.
All right. So our next guest, I was super excited we could get him last minute. So he was part of the event
He
with you,
was.
correct?
Yeah,
And
yeah, he's
so
there. He was on stage a couple of different times telling his story about he's the world's expert and just the absolute best at energy optimization, and it's just amazing when you hear this story. You guys are going to love this, and so Steve is I consider him a friend. I've known him for a couple of years now, and we've shared the stage a couple of different times, a couple of different places. But his story is awesome, and what he's doing to make the world a better place and to improve the lives of people, it's just incredible. And so I know you guys are going to just love this episode. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
uh, well, with that, I don't think there's much more to say. So you ready to get it started, Coach?
Let's roll, man.
The music should be starting. Okay, maybe not. Let's try it again.
Technology is a wonderful thing right up until the point it isn't.
Of course, you know that's how it goes. I don't understand. We are having such issues with my computer over here. So hopefully we'll get this music going. If not, we'll bring him up. So if this intro doesn't play, we will just bring him up. Not really sure what's going on my computer end, but I am getting all kinds of nothing. So let's bring.
Last week it was me and my computer. This week it's you and your computer. So it's
Yeah, it's crazy though because the videos are here and I'm clicking on them. I just don't want to click too much because then it'll keep screwing it up. And my computer's so slow. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna try one more time, and if it doesn't work, we'll just bring Steve up and let's get this thing started.
or you could just sing it.
No, we're not gonna do that. We don't want to do that. We'll lose anybody who's going to watch this if we do that. Let's bring him up. I don't know why the video is not playing, so in case it does pop in, sorry y'all. It's just a late delay, but let's bring Steve up anyways. Steve,
You're
what's up,
on.
man?
What's
We
going
are on. Yeah, so we're having technical difficulties with our video audio. So
You get one heartbeat song. Take it seriously. This is your masterpiece. Don't forget to dream and taste the colors in the air you breathe. It's your masterpiece. Go ahead and feel it all. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful.
That was an intro. Gotta have that.
that was it. We are keeping that
You had
forever.
your own walk-up music.
Wonderful. Well, again, good morning, you guys. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show.
Of course,
Man, we're just glad you're here. This is cool.
Yeah, sorry about that. And yeah, that was crazy, but yeah, we got to keep that. I have no idea. It decided to play on its own, which I was afraid of. And it's just a delay here. So once we do get some actual sponsors here, and we can maybe get a studio that the video works a little bit
It
better.
will
So
come. Yeah, there's no
so
doubt
hey.
about
But anyways, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you
that.
for your
Absolutely.
patience with it too.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, so Steve, I guess to start out, we start everybody out with a simple question. If you were looking at your life today, are you happy?
Am I happy? Yes. I think I would have to say yes in many ways. And like I said, I think happiness is an interesting word because happiness can change at a drop of a dime. You know, you can have. I mean, I think to myself, you know, whenever I'm watching a football game, you know, my happiness and my emotions can change, you know, dramatically, you know, throughout the 4 quarters. But I think the reason why I can answer yes to that question is because I truly believe that I am living and serving in the way I was created and the purpose that I've been called to do in many ways. And so because I have that, you know, that is my why. I really have. I'm working and getting up every day with a purpose. And I think that's why I can answer that yes to that question that, yeah, I am happy. Is it easy every day? No, just like you guys, it's not easy every day. You don't feel like it every day, but it doesn't matter how you feel. You have a responsibility to get up there and do it anyways. And I think with that mindset is something that, you know, I've really had to work on myself and you really hit the gym psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually in many ways. You know, it's helped me get to where I'm at now, but, you know, it's going to help me get to where I want to go as well. So
that was the best. That was the best answer to that question so far. So props for that. And
thanks.
Although I mean, we're not keeping score, but
Yes.
listen,
Yeah.
I'm keeping score, and that was the best answer because that really was, and it's to the core of what we are trying to say. It really does start with mindset and with what you have a lot to do with. So I do want to get into how you do help bring that energy because you are, and so I love the energy you bring in, but bringing that energy. So I do want to highlight also one of the reasons and one of the things we are going to have. Steve talked about is his book, and so I did find this picture. So I'm gonna share this, and this is Steve with his book.
There you
There he
go.
is.
No,
Look
age
at
versus
that. And so age
energy.
versus energy, and I love that where it all begins for you is the foundation, the core. The
Yeah.
what is that foundational problem, and you start from there. So I guess dig more into what you guys do there, and then a little bit more into the book.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So really, I'm a certified physician assistant, and I specialize in functional medicine, strength and energy medicine. So, a lot of times in medicine, what we do, in my opinion, like so, this is the disclaimer. This is my opinion on a lot of different things I'll be talking about. But is that you know we're kind of treating the symptoms in medicine, but we're not really treating the system. So the real root cause on why we experience what we experience, whether it be anxiety, depression, fatigue, hair issues, skin issues, weight issues, mood issues, chronic pain issues, libido issues, whatever, the list goes on. The question I believe we need to ask ourselves is why? Why are we experiencing these complications? Because if you guys get up in the morning and start your car, start your truck, and it's making a noise, click, 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 what do we say to ourselves? Why is my car making a noise? Why is my truck making a noise? We don't say to ourselves, oh my gosh, my truck's making a noise. Okay, let me turn up the music. There you go. Now I don't hear it anymore. We don't do that because we know that the problem is still there. And so when we talk about these symptomatic therapies, these quick fix therapies, these band-aid therapies, we're really just kind of, postponing a lot of complications in the future. So we want to get down to the root cause. Why does somebody have blood pressure issues? Why is someone's cholesterol elevated? Why do you have diabetes? Why do you have cancer? Why do you have these things? Because if we just kind of just put a blanket over things, the real issue is still there. And I think that's the mindset and message we get in medicine a lot of times. And I've worked in it for many, many years. Hence the reason why I practice the way I do. I kind of broke free from that cage and that model of Western medicine. And I believe that it has its place, but when we're trying to give short-term therapies as a long-term solution to someone's health and wellness journey, that's where I disagree, because I think we need to really listen to the person and not just worry about fixing the problem. And that's what I talk about, how I begin all my consultations with the guests that I serve. And I call them guests because I believe that medicine needs and should be an act of service. So you are our guest when you come visit me and my staff in my clinic. And so, like I said, a lot of times people are devastated. They have no hope. They have their dreams and their imagination and the optimism that I believe that they should have in their life, especially when it comes to their health and wellness journey, their strength and energy journey, is absolutely crushed by years of just, pessimism and just being beat down with no hope at all. So really, the reason why I picked the title Age versus Energy is because a lot of people want that back in their life. They want the strength, energy, and vitality back in their life. But the message they receive is, boy, I'm older now. I can't have that. It's impossible. That's long gone. I'm 42 right now. I'm not 22. It's like, oh my gosh, 42 is so young, right? But a lot of times the message is, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Accept it, move on. This is your life. It's going to keep on getting worse as you get older. And I don't believe that. And it's proof not only by, what we do in my clinic and how I practice functional medicine, but also the research and the statistics. If you know where to go and what to do and what team to join and who to work with, you can get your energy back like that in a very clean, natural, methodical way. And so I just have a passion for doing that. That's what I love doing. And I wanted to write the book just to give people a beginning, just to encourage them to ask more questions, to inspire them of like, hey, you know what? There are other options out there. I just need to know what questions to ask and what to do. And so that's, kind of was the main motivation for the book.
Awesome. You've got such a varied background. You've got your military service, and then you did work in a more traditional medicine environment. Through all that you learned, what was kind of that epiphany that said, hey, there's got to be a better way?
Yeah, I think there was many. So, growing up, I'm from Washington State originally. I'm living down here in Texas now, but growing up, my mom, I remember, was always, in the kind of the health kick, trying something new, knew this, knew that. I remember getting the Juice Man juicer when I was 5 years old, and she'd be making me cabbage juice and garlic juice. I'm like, God, you say it's like death. But I knew it was good for me. So I kind of just always kind of adopted that lifestyle at a, I guess at a lower level, I guess. But yeah, in the military is when I really had a chance to really be exposed to actually, Stacey, I'm not sure if you know this, but before I was in the military, I was actually a firefighter for 10 years. I'm not sure if you knew that. So
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
so really I practiced like more of the EMS, the more of the emergency medicine. And at that time, when we went on a call, say it was a heart attack or, an assault or some kind of traumatic accident, the reason why the individual was in the situation was a lot of root cause medicine. Hey, you have a huge wound, you have a gunshot wound, you have a stabbing, you're in a car wreck. So we need to fix that problem now. That is the root cause. If someone's in pain and because they have a huge laceration or a cut or a bleed, I'm not going to give them a pain pill. Okay, now your pain's gone. It's like, no, the reason why you're in pain is because you have a big A, B, and C, whatever's going on. So that was like kind of my pre-hospital care. Then when I got into the military, I was actually able to work in surgery. I was part of Wilford Hall Medical Center and I worked in a level 1 trauma. And there I got to see in hospital, medicine. So it's kind of the both dynamics of what I was able to experience. And so that kind of inspired me to really go into medicine after I was done with the military. And really there's two types of medicine. There's conventional medicine, which I call, the very common medicine, kind of what we learn in medical school and things like that, almost like a pill for every ill. Right. And then there's functional medicine, kind of what I do, trying to get down to the root cause. And so when I was working in conventional medicine, because honestly, when I graduated school, I didn't think there was any other options. I knew I lived one way, the functional world I was living, but I was practicing a different way. And, so it really was a battle within me that, what am I doing? I see these people come into me, they pour their heart out to me, and all I'm able to do is just give them more pills. And what I was doing, and I didn't realize at the time, but I realize that now, what I was doing, I was creating an environment in a world of dependence and not independence for these individuals. I was taking away their power to become better. I was taking away their power to really take charge of their health. And a lot of times, it kind of goes two ways because a lot of times they don't know what to do. But the way the system's set up, I didn't have time to explain it to them and teach them and coach them, because really the average time in a conventional setting, a clinical setting, when you go for a doctor appointment, is about 5 to 7 minutes. So what can I really do in 5 to 7 minutes? I can't do much as far as helping you become the best version of yourself. What I can do is give you a quick pill and then send you out your door. So really, when I started, working in this medicine, I was like, enough's enough. I got to start, really branching out here and see what else is out there. So what I started doing is started reading. And I came across, some books by my mentor, one of my mentors, Dr. Stephen Hotze out of Katy, Texas. And when I started reading his book, really taught me a lot about root cause medicine. So I started practicing these techniques that I was learning in this book in my clinical conventional medicine setting. So I was practicing functional medicine into a conventional setting. And to make a long story short, a lot of people were becoming very happy. I was becoming pretty popular within my clinical setting because people were talking about how they were getting off their medication. They were feeling better, more energy, less pain, things like that. And so my medical director, the owner of the clinic, one day called me and said, "Hey, Steve," or "Hey, Martinez, let's talk in my office. I want to talk with you about the things you're doing with the thyroid." So I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. He's going to give me a attaboy, pat me on the back. Let's change some protocols, processes, and procedures. Let's really try to get these people back to where they want to be. And so when I went into his office, he pretty much he puts his hand in front of my face. He goes, "I don't know what you're doing, but we don't do that here." And I was like, wow, because I was very upset that I was getting people off the pills and people were feeling better. So again, that night I was like, there's your sign. There's my epiphany. So that night I went home, wrote my 13-word letter of resignation, and then turned it the next morning, and I was out. Very scary drive home, that afternoon. I was married, I had a 2-year-old boy at the time and everything, but it was that freedom. That was that freedom in the risk, the freedom over fear that a lot of times people have. And, hey, I had it too. I'm sure you guys experienced too, but that doesn't mean you stop when you quit. You got, what? My back's up against the wall. Now I got to take off the gloves and let's go fight. Because really where I'm at in South Texas on the U.S.-Mexican border, I'm the only one that practices functional medicine south of San Antonio. So about a maybe 220-mile range. I'm it. That's it. No one else.
Oh,
so
wow.
huge responsibility, but also blessing and opportunity at the same time. And we're growing and having a lot of fun. So.
Awesome. Now I saw you taking some notes, DJ. I know you got
Oh
something.
man, yeah, you touched on so much. I love it. We could go down so many rabbit holes with
I
this.
know.
But first, let's start with you started with the comparison of car, and I love it. So my wife's a nurse. I always go to a car. My dad was a mechanic for a long time.
Yeah.
Everybody says there's this noise. What's this? And so I tell people. But I try to use that same comparison. So I love that you use that, but I want to go even deeper into that.
Sure.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett has in one of his talks, he talks about if we've seen our body, this one body that we're given as the one car that we're given our entire life, we're going to pay attention to those noises like you're talking about. We're going to check the oil. We're going to make sure what goes in is good. We're going to make sure what goes out, and everything are going to take care of us as this car,
Right.
that we need for a lifetime to last us forever. I love that he tied that about our body being a car and paying attention to those little things and valuing ourselves as a car, just like you did, but then also tying those little feelings. Now, you talked about a pill for every ill. You're ringing my tunes. Tony Robbins, great book that just came out, that he did, Life Force, that I have back here.
Yep.
But he mentions 88% of the time that you go to a doctor and you get a second opinion, it's going to be different. So that means only 12% of the time do you get the same opinion.
Yeah.
So you started this with, these are your opinions. You have the right to share your opinion.
Yeah.
Clearly, we're going to doctors who are sharing us the wrong opinion and just giving us a pill for every ill. And so your opinion is just as valuable as them. So I want to start off by that. Clearly, keep sharing this message. I think that it will drive and needs to drive through to people to understand that we can last longer depending on how long we and what we're putting into ourselves. Car idea. Go back to that. So you said with so the pill ill and they're covering up band-aids. I feel like that is a band-aid too. How do you talk your guest? And I love that you shared that too. There's so many things to unpack. We're going to go into these as we go deeper, because there's new business owners. If you guys aren't watching this, the way he shared it, I mean, this is a doctor, and most doctors don't talk like this about, but this is the same way that you should be treating your customers, your clients. It's really getting to know them, know what their problem is, not just a quick fix of, hey, well, this will fix, just give me some money and this will fix it. No.
Yeah.
What if that's not the actual problem? So going back to that though, how do you with your guest actually hone into what is the actual root cause so they don't get stuck in that, I'll just call it what it is, that superficial, that glossed over, I think, kind of baseline that we get stuck at, and then here's a pill for the ill. How do
Right.
you dig deeper with them?
For every visit, when someone comes visits me, I start off every session with our guests is just really listening to them. Say, hey, you know what? Here you're going to relax, share your story, share your journey. And I say that the way we're going to be with you along this journey is to listen to your dreams and your goals and your imagination, the destination that you want to accomplish, and how we're going to work together as a team to get there. Because I think a lot of times in medicine, whether people realize it or not, it's kind of like us versus them. Okay, the patient versus the doctor in the white coat. And it's like, it's always that battle. And whatever the magical individual with a white coat, they must know it all. And we don't, because we're human beings just like everyone else. And we make mistakes. Like you said, a different opinion, depending on where you go. So I think it's very important to make sure that, that they know that we're on a team. I'm going to be with you and your coach. Not only myself, but my team at my clinic is going to be with you along the journey, because we want you to be successful. We want you to be happy. That's why you're here. So I tell them, we're not going to focus on the problems. We know that they're there. Okay, cool. But what kind of life do you want to live on the other side of those problems? What kind of life do you want to live? Why are we here? I mean, yeah, you have back pain, you can't sleep, and you gained 50 pounds, but why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to help your back? And why do you want to sleep better? Well, because I want to play with my kids. I want to run a marathon. I want to, go to dance class with my wife or whatever. Well, that's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why. And so really, if we get them kind of excited about, hey, you know what? I never had these conversations before. He's right. Oh my gosh, let's dream a little bit more here. And that's the way we start every session. And so when they talk about, okay, well, I have diabetes, I have hypertension, I have gastritis or whatever, I really do a good job of not just telling, but teaching. Let's teach you about why you might be experiencing these things and why I believe that we should maybe look and explore different options for you to get you off the pills. Because a lot of people want to get off the pills. They just don't know they can. They don't know how. And so again, the teaching, not just telling model, I think is very important. But at the same time, in order to do that, we need time. And I can't do that in 5 to 7 minutes. And that's generous too, in a quick, consultation. So really, I think that's kind of where it's at, knowing that, hey, you know what? There's hope out there. Let's figure out a good customized routine for you. No cookie cutter routines, no one size fits all therapies. It's all about you, your goals, your dream, the destination you want to accomplish, and how we're going to work together as a team to get you there. Wherever there is at, I don't know where there is at. You're going to tell me. And so like, all right, well, sounds good. Let's begin. And then they just blah, 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 blah. And like I said, every visit with me is an hour. So, I mean, they have a whole hour just to let it loose, however they feel comfortable. I'm taking my notes, and then I work with, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and really dial that in. But the core values that we have, are clean, natural, bioidentical. Because really what we're trying to achieve here is something called cellular efficiency. When our cells are happy and healthy, well, we are happy and healthy. But when our cells are sick and struggling, usually we feel sick and we're struggling as well. So if we're able to optimize that cell, especially the mitochondria, which is the engine, if we're doing the car analogy, the engine for the cell, then man, you can drive all over the world without any complications. But when that engine isn't functioning to those optimal levels, could be normal, but not optimal, well, then we have a lot of room for improvement. So really customizing these routines, customization through communication, that's how the magic's made. And that's how we have a lot of success and have a lot of fun in the meantime and while doing it. So
I think the one thing I remember from my limited science education is the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That's
the power, man.
I don't know why that stands out, but
yeah.
I remember that.
It's the power. And that's what it's all about too. I mean, we get that mitochondria and we talk about inflammation, what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe, the clothes we wear, the toothpaste we use, the shampoo we use, the deodorant we use, the socks we wear, all those different things matter because these things are just enriched with chemicals and pesticides and things like that, which actually affect us as human beings, which will cause inflammation. Now, how that inflammation will affect us, I don't know, because we're all different, but I do know that it's going to affect the mitochondria. And when that engine is impacted in a negative way, that's when the journey begins in a direction we don't want to go.
And so one of the things about that pill for every ill is if you're operating based on the numbers. So let's say I've got maybe an A1C or some number that I'm trying to improve.
Sure.
The pill can make the number look good, but it may not make me feel any better. So when you're digging into the cellular optimization, what are some kind of things that you do? And I've heard you tell the story about changing someone's toothpaste. Maybe that's an example that people will appreciate. I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of times the things that we participate in again, the foods we eat and the beverages we drink, they all have a lot of impact on our body, good or bad. Food needs to be our medicine, but it can also be our poison. Now, just kind of one step back, that I believe that pharmaceutical medications have a role. Now, if someone's having a heart attack, don't come to my clinic and talk with me about, turmeric and magnesium. No. You go to the ER, you get your nitro, you get your beta blocker, you get your, that's what you need at that time. But when you stay on those medications, this is my opinion, when you stay on those medications as a long-term solution, then that's where I have problems because, again, Stacey, like you said, we want to get down to the root cause of what brought you to that situation in the first place. What brought you to that stroke? What brought you to that heart attack? What brought you to that, that ulcer in your stomach? What brought you to that beginning onset of dementia, Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or whatever? What brought you there? And then that's where we want to get down to that root cause. And once we do that, boy, that's where the magic's made. So again, toothpaste and thyroid, because a lot of times toothpaste has fluoride. Okay. Yeah. Fluoride is a halogen. Now, we also have another element that we need for proper thyroid function, and that's iodine. If we have an overabundance of fluoride by, what we shower, all that fluoride soaking into our bodies, what we're drinking in our water, but also, just blasting our teeth and our mouth with fluoride through our toothpaste, we have an overabundance of that fluoride in our system, which squashes the iodine. Iodine can't get to the thyroid, low thyroid function, hypothyroid function, and then you have the whole cascade of symptoms and complications. So a lot of times we're able to optimize people's thyroid, get them off medication by just changing their toothpaste. And it's super cool. But like I said, everyone's different. And that's where the customization's at through communication on how we can help you along the journey to get you to that destination. And if we do that, then I think it's really cool, but it's challenging though too, because everything we do, we're surrounded by toxins. We're surrounded by, what we call endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors, meaning that they interfere with our endocrine system. So we talk about hormones, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, cortisol, thyroid hormone, all those different things are like, I'm kind of frustrated here. I need some help. I need to help me clean up shop. And it's difficult at times. That's where you got to be a detective, because again, I'm not giving you a quick pill. I'm trying to uncover the reason why, and everyone's different.
You mentioned the hormones there at the end. One of the interesting things in the book, and again, when I've heard you speak, you talk about a specific hormone that's really important for women. That's kind of shocking. Yeah. Can you get into that for just a little bit?
Yes. And a lot of times, a lot of myths out there, the myths. Cholesterol's bad. Cholesterol keeps us alive, you guys. Sugar's bad. Sugar keeps us alive. Now we have overabundance. That's where it gets kind of tricky, but it's not like we're not trying to get our sugar as low as possible. We're not trying to get our cholesterol as low as possible, because guess what? What's our brain made out of? Cholesterol. So if we try to get, statin drugs, or low fat diet, low fat this, our brain will start to shrink. Okay. That's what's going to happen. But really when we talk about hormones, there's a myth out there that, testosterone's just for men or estrogen's just for women. And that is a complete lie. It's not true. Testosterone, ladies, those who are listening out there, testosterone is one of the most important hormones in your body. Men, estrogen is one of the most important hormones for your body. Why? Because the number 2 reason I see erectile dysfunction and low libido in guys is because of low estrogen, believe it or not. It's crazy, but it is true. Look at the research. But same thing with women. When you have low testosterone, ladies, you have things like, low libido, weight gain, mental fog, anxiety, depression, hair loss. You lose your muscle mass. You start developing things like Parkinson's, dementia, and Alzheimer's. Now, guys experience these things too. But if you look at the statistics, women usually experience these things about an 8-to-1 ratio versus guys, because guys have more what? testosterone. So if we're able to optimize your testosterone, say a 56-year-old, if I'm able to optimize her testosterone in a clean, natural way to where she had when she was 26, guess what? The energy, vitality, and enthusiasm starts coming back. So there's no doubt as we age, symptoms begin. I'm not going to deny that. I'm experiencing that too. We all experience that. But the question is why and what can we do about it? And there's plenty we can do about it if you know what to do and who to talk with. So I guess there's a lot of myths out there when it comes to medicine. And I believe, I think there's many reasons why, but I believe that, if the message of medicine isn't hope, then what happens is that there's control out there. And like I said, you're going to have a world of dependence instead of independence, and just kind of accept, this is my life now, nothing I can do. And that is far from the truth. And that's why this medical revolution that I'm a part of, to really kind of get the message out there, is so energetic to me, because it's what I believe in. I believe it's what people need, because I see it every day at my clinic. I see it every day from the people I work with around the country through telemedicine. And it's pretty phenomenal, when you listen to people's stories and how the lives have been changed. So
awesome.
Yeah. So testosterone, ladies, don't believe it. Testosterone. Testosterone.
You blew my mind with the estrogen would help with that. I'm sure most people wouldn't even believe that.
No, a lot of guys are trying to get your testosterone as high as estrogen is low, and they're like, oh man, no, I'm not having as much libido, or maybe you don't have erectile dysfunction, you have EP, erectile problems. It's like, what's going on here? My testosterone, I'm on TRT, I'm on testosterone. Why isn't it working? What's going on here? It's because your estrogen is crashing, and they actually work synergistically with each other. So if you crash one and optimize the other, the system's not going to function the way it wants to. And so again, it's having optimal levels of each different category, and then to monitor through communication of how we're going to make it, tailored for you. And then that's how we achieve awesome results. So
one of the words that keeps coming up is optimal, and you also talk about chronological age versus versus like the bio age that we've got within us in cellular.
Yes.
And so can you dig a little bit more into what you mean by optimal and how that works with our age?
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, a lot of times if you were kind of a black and white, definition, when I say optimal, usually I'm trying to get individuals back to their levels, back to about in their mid-20s. That's kind of where we should have been optimal, I guess, at one time in our life. It's different for each person, but that's usually the goal. So if someone's 56 years old and they're experiencing, A, B, and C symptoms, again, a lot of times the message is, hey, you're 56 now, you're not 26. That's just deal with it, man. That this is your life now. But if we're able to get those levels back to where they once were, then that's where the magic starts to happen and things start to wake up in your body, because that's the way we're created. Our bodies are created to function at optimal levels. It's just that, like you're talking about a 69 Camaro, a beautiful car, but if it has no TLC throughout the years, then yeah, it's not going to function like it did back in 1969. This is the way it happens. So when we talk about these different process and protocols and procedures and routines and therapies, it needs to be customized for the individual to get them back to where we want to be. With that said, one of the things that you'll hear me talk about as well, I don't treat numbers, I treat people. Because what if I have an individual, say a guy comes in and he has low libido, weight gain, loss of muscle mass, mental fog, anxiety, and extreme fatigue. I was like, well, you better check your testosterone. And say he has a testosterone of a 234, which a 234 is normal because their range is from 200 to 1100. So it's huge. It's like passing a math test with a D- versus an A+. Hey, you still passed it.
You still passed it.
So really, when we talk about the ranges in medicine, the numbers, I believe numbers should guide, but never decide what kind of therapy you deserve. Because what if you come in and your testosterone is normal, but you don't feel normal? You feel horrible. So what if I optimize you, say, to a 934? Well, guess what? A 934 fits within the ranges too. So, technically, shouldn't you feel the same at a 934 that you do at a 234 because they're both normal, right? Wrong. The pendulum has swung in a direction that is totally different. So even with that said, say I get this individual up to a 934, but what if he doesn't feel much difference? That means these numbers within your blood are not getting into your cell. Okay, so remember, you guys, when you get your labs checked, you're checking your blood. What I'm interested in is how you feel within those blood levels, because if you feel the same or not much improvement at all, but I see a dramatic difference within the numbers, that means we have a roadblock somewhere. That means you have a full gas tank, but your fuel pump is broken. It's not getting to the engine. Okay. So that's why it's very important that your clinician, in my opinion, and what we don't do, we don't treat numbers, we treat people. I want your numbers optimal, but to make sure that the fuel pump is working so it goes to your engine and you're going to feel that fire. Because if you don't, then we need to unblock some things. Maybe it's inflammation, maybe it's your liver, maybe it's your kidneys, maybe it's your gut health, all these different things. And that's why we got to function and look at things as a system and not just focus on the symptoms. And that's what functional medicine is supposed to be all about.
Awesome. That was good.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
That is so
Really,
good.
it's good that you're somewhat of a car guy too. I would not be able to use that analogy. I'm not a
Yeah,
car
yeah.
guy
I
at all.
love cars, man. So it's kind of like another thing I use, kind of like you invite somebody over for your birthday party and you have 100 guests coming up to your front door and they knock on your front door and you can't open the front door. And if I was to give Stacey, if I was to give you a call and say, hey, are all your guests there? Yeah, man, they're here. Great. You guys have fun. They're here. They're on my property, but they're not inside my house celebrating. So imagine your front yard and your porch. That's the blood. They are there. They are present, but they're not inside your house, inside your cell celebrating. So it's one thing to have them there. It's one thing to have them in the right place and position so your body and your cells and the party can continue. So that's kind of the thing about we don't treat numbers. We treat people because that's where the real difference is being made.
There we go. The barbecue house party. Now he's speaking.
So we got a comment out here from my wife. This is from Maggie, but it says, "Love this. Need more mindset shifts in medicine. What comes in goes out. The good, the bad, and the uncomfortable."
I agree, 1000%. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And touching on that, so one thing. So I'm a huge Dr. Bruce Lipton fan.
Okay.
Biology and belief. Love that. He believes. I mean, how big is stress and fear? And everything that we are being fed right now to what you work on or touch with people as you're working through them.
Gosh, that's a great question. Holy smokes. When you talk about fear, especially over the last 2.5, 3 years, I think if you fear someone, you control someone. I think that's my opinion in many, many ways. And I think that, like I said, I kind of chuckle. It's like, when has the government cared this much about our health? I don't know. But so it's one of those things that I think that's what it comes down to. I think there is a shining light in all this as well. In many ways, is that people are really taking charge of their health. They're really investigating and looking into, hey, you know what? There might be more to this story in many ways. But when we talk about stress, stress can be mentally, physically, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, or a little bit of everything. But those stresses, whatever it comes from, dramatically impacts us as a human being. Dramatically. I mean, I'm talking about, you're looking the size of someone's brain, someone's heart, the thymus gland. It's so impactful. And a lot of times people think of stress just being like, oh, mental or psychological or spiritual. But no, it can be physical. If your hormones aren't balanced, if you have a lot of pain or whatever, it can dramatically impact your life, and it causes anger and frustration and lack of enthusiasm. It crushes your dreams. Like, you know what? There's no hope. I'm tired of taking these pills, but if I don't take them, I have pain and I can't function. What do I do? It's like you're trapped in this world that a lot of people can't break out of. So I think that's real. I mean, stress will kill. Stress will kill. So not only just, working with a clinician, but also taking charge of your health. Hey, I want to, have fun, go on activities, maybe not work so much, spend time with those you love, go outside and get some sunlight, go for a walk, exercise. We got to do these things. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm so busy, I don't feel like it. Well, guess what? I don't feel like it either a lot of days. Most days I don't, but I do it anyways because I know what I need to do to become the best. I know what I need to do to really be there for those who depend on me, like my family. Because if I'm not the best, I can't give them the best. And that is the dedication that I have, not the motivation, but the dedication. No matter how I feel, I'm going to go out there and do it anyways. As a man, I think it's what we need to do. So it's not going to be easy all the time. I'm not saying that's kind of sitting here and say, oh yeah, it's just so simple. No, not even close. But like I said, if you have that mindset, no matter how you feel, it does get easier. Just like going to the gym, it does get easier. But when we talk about stress can strip us of many different things, and it's real. When some people say it's not real, it is very real. But the question is, just because it's real doesn't mean it gives us an excuse not to do anything about it. I think you identify it and you overcome it. Not by yourself. You have a team, and that's the way I approach things, not only myself personally, but professionally as well.
Is there a certain age where chronological age just finally kicks in and there's really nothing more we can do? Is there like an upper limit to finding help and solace with this?
That's a great question. So you brought going back to your question, Stacey, is like, biological age and chronological age. So really, there's two different ages, believe it or not, you guys, because the chronological age is like your birth date. Okay, I'm 48 years old. Okay, but your biological age is the health and the age of your cells. So really, I can test someone's chronological age. Okay, you're 48, but maybe your cells are 52, or maybe your cells are 26. I don't know. So really, like we can be older or younger than our age if we if we're not careful. So it kind of depends on which direction we're going. But yeah, you're right. So I mean, I see people who are like 75 years old and they want to feel like they're 25 again. Now maybe I can't get them exactly like they're 25 again, but hey, I can get them pretty close where they're here. They're getting up the couch, they're back kayaking, they're back dancing with their wife, they're going on vacation, and they have the energy and mental clarity and enthusiasm and strength that they haven't had in 50 years. So I think that there's age is limitless in many ways. I believe that age is just a number. And that's kind of, again, going back to the title of the book, Age versus Energy. No matter what age you are, I believe you can regain some of that age and vitality and enthusiasm. We just need to know what to do and where to go. And I think that if we're able to do that in a very customized way, then people can get their life back. They really can. They can get their life back. And like I said, it takes a little time. It's not like quick fix medicine. It's not like a light switch medicine, but the journey, right? The marathon. This is a marathon, not a quick 5K. So little by little, we build you up in different phases. We customize, we communicate to make sure you're happy, you're achieving your goals, you're having those victories, and then we keep on building you up in the direction you want to go. So I believe that there is no age, but I also believe that, we are living longer. There's no doubt that, the numbers show that, but I believe that we're aging quicker. And why do I say that? Because a lot of times the symptoms and complications I see in, say late 20s, early 30s, early 40s, I used to see in 50s, 60s, and 70s. So we're aging quicker in many ways because of the stress, the inflammation, our diet, the food industry, the busyness of our life. We're never resting. We're not sleeping well. So that's going to age us quicker. And so if we're able to be mindful of those things, it usually helps us along that journey to not only, prolong and be our life and our cells, but help us be happier, have more energy, and enjoy life in the way we want. So.
That's just awesome. And at when we were in Texas, I was able to talk to some of the folks that you've helped, and one in particular had come in, and the goal was just to be able to do the dance lessons with his wife, and he had dropped about 45 pounds, and had just a great experience. And it all started with a consult with you that you described, and so he wasn't the only one. There were others that were there, but. It's just awesome to hear people getting their lives back, just a little piece of those lives back. It's when you say you're living your purpose, I've seen it in action. I believe you really are living your purpose. I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, having fun, man. It's only beginning. A lot of cool things coming out, and a lot of new things that we're trying to develop and build. But like I said, for right now, I mean, it's been amazing. I would not want to be or practice any other way.
On that along those lines, I see you going to conferences and different things. You're constantly learning more. What do you see on the horizon? What's something new that we haven't heard about?
Yeah. So really what we're kind of bring to the table is, when we talk about, peptides, peptides have been around for a little while, but we're starting to learn more and more about peptides. I'm a peptide specialist, and what peptides are is they're amino acids. And these proteins that actually already originate in your body, they have different responsibilities. If someone came to me and said, "Hey, Steve, I want to improve on, A, B, C, D, whatever symptoms." Well, guess what? There's a peptide for that, for your hair, your skin, your mood, your memory, your weight, your joints, your libido, your sleep, your mental clarity, or whatever. There's a peptide for that already in your body. But like hormones and other things, as we age, peptides go down, complications go up. So we're learning more about these peptides and how we can use them for dementia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's, and rheumatoid arthritis, and really helping optimize the heart and the liver and the kidneys and the hormones and the brain health, all these different things, which is absolutely amazing. So we're actually working more with peptides. We're going to hear more and more about that, but also really diving into inflammation. These next level IV therapies that are not just for like vitamins and minerals, which I believe in, which are great, but to really clean your blood, And we're talking about a blood flush to get away out of, like, you know, the interleukins and the cytokines and these types of things that are causing problems, like little tornadoes within our system. If we can flush those out with techniques and to achieve something called autophagy. Now, autophagy is a word that we use to help just pretty much describes cell cleaning. If we're able to achieve that at a more profound level, oh man, you're talking about some amazing things happening in medicine. And so that's, we're dialing those in, we're customizing those things. There's a little caveat because the FDA doesn't agree with what we do a lot of times. These are, these are abroad therapies that I'm working with a team of scientists out of Mexico City right now. And so they invited me on their team. And so we're really building some cool things in Cabo, in Tulum, Cancun area, these awesome clinics that people can fly to and just receive just phenomenal world-changing therapies that they're doing in Germany and Israel and Italy, but just not the United States. And a lot of times people think, well, if it's not in the United States, it must not be good. False. I mean, you should look at the statistics when it comes to cancer. I mean, talk about, Europe having a 30 to 40% more survival rate than cancer in the United States. We might want to listen, right? So long story short, a lot of cool things on the horizon. And we're not quite there yet, but I mean, boy, we're talking about 6 to 8 weeks before we're going to launch some pretty cool things. So
and our government really cares about our health when there's a little bit of this for them along the way.
The sicker we are, the more money they make, man. So
amen.
That's right, unfortunately. And I like that you touched on that, Steve. One of the things Tony Robbins had talked about was when he tore his shoulder, and that's where he figured out that the opinions were only 12% of the time the same opinion. Somebody told him get a second opinion because they told him surgery is going to, and then somebody told him about stem cells, and that's when he ended up writing the book. But he said the same thing. Oh, in the U.S., he couldn't get the same treatment. He had to go somewhere else to actually get the good treatment. That literally from a shot, I think it was just a shot of stem cell, he was healed. His shoulder was healed in 3 days. The
body has the intelligence and the ability to heal itself in so many different ways, but we don't give it a chance. We're trying to do quick fixes, cover things up, inject this, inject that to improve your immune system. No, God gave you the best immune system. We just need to support it, right? We need to acknowledge it, I guess, to begin with, and to really figure out ways and how to optimize it as well. And even getting sick, it's not a bad thing because that's actually strengthening your immune system in many ways. But like I said, a lot of times the message in medicine is changing over the years too. You look up at the message in medicine, 60, 70 years ago till now, completely different. So that's what I mean by, really inspiring people to take charge of their health, do your homework, do your research, ask your questions, but also make sure you work with somebody who will listen to those questions and not just say, oh, stop, sorry, we don't do that here, And I think that if you do get that treatment, it's very unfortunate. You should not be treated like that, and you need to go find somebody else. Because I think your story, your journey needs to be heard. Why? Because it's your life. And if you take your life seriously, then you'll find someone who does the same. Take your life seriously.
Remember that, y'all. If you feel like you're talking to somebody and they're just not understanding what you're saying or not giving you the response, you have other opinions.
You should. It's your right. It's your right.
It is your right. And now I do, Coach, do you have anything? I do want you to, one last thing. I'll feel bad if I don't bring this up. You talked and touched a lot about inflammation, and there are those diseases out there. So my mom deals with lupus and Raynaud's. So any advice, any fixes for people in those that you've noticed are kind of the cause or could at least alleviate some of that?
Yeah, it is inflammation. And like I said, when we talk about autoimmune situations, we want to talk about, the cell. I'm going back to the mitochondria. So how to optimize a cell, because when that cell isn't working to optimal levels, we do have complications. And it could be an autoimmune, a lupus, a Sjogren's, or Raynaud's, or whatever. So again, really trying to get down to the foundations and fundamentals of who we are as a human being when it comes to, what we eat. And a lot of times it has to do with the oils, the vegetable oil, canola oil, seed oils, sesame oils, things like that. Inflammation, especially sugars, inflammation. So really when we talk about a diet to really help set the foundation. Now, will that be the end all say all? No, it won't. But I mean, it will help set the foundation for us to build on. Then we talk about things like high level vitamin C, vitamin D. We're talking about even ozone therapy, which is an amazing IV therapy that just blasts out inflammation. We have people that we see for these issues, and they're doing phenomenal. I mean, my gosh. I mean, not only the way they present and what they feel, but also their numbers, the ANA, the rheumatoid factor, sedimentation rate, all these different things that people might be familiar with, they're going down. The inflammation is going away. But what we're doing is we're giving the body to use the intelligence and capability to really heal itself in many different ways. Now, does it happen overnight? No, it doesn't. But like I said, it's the journey. It's the victories along the path. Say, hey, a little better today. A little better today. Maybe we take a step back a little bit, reevaluate. Okay, now we take another step. So it's a journey, and that's the importance of having a team and a coach with you to help you be successful. And that's like any sports team, right? I mean, if we only saw our coach, once every 4 or 5 months, probably wouldn't be a very good team, So really having that camaraderie, that communication, that openness is what we value. Those are our core values, and to make sure that people are taken care of. But again, it comes down to inflammation. And so really identifying certain areas of your body where, hey, I could improve here. I might want to look at this. I might want to look at that. I would start there. Even things like hydration, drinking enough water can help the cells relax. So I would say I would start there. I mean, it's a complex answer. I think it's an amazing question because a lot of people experience it. But go down to the core values and the foundations of who we are as human beings: food, water, sleep, stress. Start there and then build.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, this is awesome. This is so. I could sit here and ask you a million questions and just get you talking. So we'll definitely have to have you back on, Coach. Anything to take us out?
I told you, DJ. I said once he gets started, you're not going to stop. I knew this is the way it was going to go. He's so good.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And medicine can be fun too. I think that's the message too. Medicine can be fun. It doesn't need to be, I got to go to the docs. I get to. Why? Because he's going to help me become a better version of myself. He's going to inspire me, help me instill that optimism and enthusiasm, and to help me have more strength and energy. And if we can achieve that, man, I believe we can change the world. Maybe not the whole world overnight, but to that one person, you can be the world to them. And I think that's the mindset we got to have with each individual we work with. If we don't, then we're playing the numbers game, and everyone loses, in my opinion.
Everybody loses in the short game. You got to play the long game. Long game, you always win. And so, everybody, if you don't see it, look at the screen. Look at your screen. Book and call, please. Yeah. If you feel like you're going to the doctor and you feel like he's on the other team or on some other team, but it doesn't feel like he's on your team, then you need to find somebody like Steven. Yeah, I agree with a doctor who has the approach that you have, or that it's a team and we're all one team working together with the goal of making that client, that guest, the best that they possibly can be. I mean, if you're not getting that or feeling that from your doctor, I love that you're saying that and you're out there sharing that, because I think most people look at the doctor as, especially guys, once you get to a certain age, you're like, I'm not going to the doctor. He's going to tell me there's something wrong with me, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. Like, no, I'm fine. And so you don't want to, but with something like this, where if you're just feeling not, again, reach out, call, check out this website. Give a call.
My team's amazing. My team's amazing. They'll talk with you, they'll guide you. And you don't feel it's a good match, maybe it's not a good match. Great. Let's try to figure out something to help you with, or give you some tools to take with you and help you along your journey. So we're always here to help. We're here to serve. I mean, we're in the hospitality business. We just happen to offer medicine. So we're always here to serve, and we won't let you, we won't abandon you. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have asked anyone on the show here if I wasn't a consumer of the product and a believer in the product too. And so my wife, her blood kits are turned in, and we've got her consult coming up here pretty soon. Can't wait to see what's going to happen there.
We'll rock it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Can't wait.
All right, guys.
Well, again, everybody, if you enjoyed this, make sure to reach out to Steven Martinez over at, I'm throwing it up. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to come up on the screen. There we go. Restore Wellness. Again, you could find him on Instagram, on Facebook, restore wellness, reach out. His book, The Age versus Energy.
Yes.
Don't make sure and get a copy of this. If you feel like you are not on the right team and you just want to get some advice or get at least to see if you know that you should be focusing more on the age and on your energy and not your age. And age is just
Yeah.
a number.
Just a
Again,
number.
I love some of my favorites to listen to and to leave you out with this, Steve, is so I love Ed Milet and Rob Dyrdek are very big on, especially Rob, removing energy, removing the stress. And they believe, I think they talk a lot about biohacking
Oh, sure.
and living to the age. I think Ed Milet's goal is 127, and I
27?
forget
Yeah.
what 127 years, guys. Again, we're not; these aren't crazy woo woo things. You just got to find the right doctor. If you don't have one, now you have ours here.
Yeah,
The
it's all about the
Robinhood Capitalist, Stephen Martinez. Reach out to him. He will help guide you to the right direction. And maybe you can break 100 like I want to. 108 is my number, so I will
There you
be
go.
reaching out
Get
because
you
I
there.
want to reach 108. I know you can help me get there, so I will definitely be reaching out. But again, if y'all enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to Robinhood Capitalist. We really just want to help you be your best self. I love Steve's definitely going to be our doctor for the Robinhood Capitalist. So if you guys need guidance on just you're lacking energy, you're lacking that vitality, you're lacking that just drive to get to the next level. That's what we're here for. We really want you to be your best self. We want you to get the most out of this car,
Yes.
as Warren Buffett says, out of these 100 years that you can. So drive it, take care of it, function with it, and always remember to feed the good wolf, y'all. Until next time, we're out.
See you soon.
Lavishness can't give me anything that I need. Give me the new money. Give me the new money. Another check won't do it. Another watch won't prove it. You can't hold on.